Evening everyone, how are we? Welcome to the stream number 2. Hope everyone's doing well, and yeah, hope you've all had a good weekend so far. Update time, really. Updating my recovery. I'll wait till a few people drop in before we get started. So I'm talking about updating my recovery tonight. If you've got any advice you want on your 90 series, ask me in the chat. I'll answer your questions. And yeah, it's pretty much ask me anything, guys. More than happy to help with that. So give me 2 ticks here. Let's get going on. What can we see? It would be that. All right. So who we got in the chat tonight? Make yourself known. Hopefully the audio is all good. I've changed the setting here so it should be a bit more in real time. So we'll go with that and see how it rolls. So okay, how you doing, mate? Josh, how you doing, bud? Hope you guys had a good weekend. As you can see, I'm not wearing my sling, but there's a reason for that, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Still got a long way to go, so a long way to go. All right. Almost got enough people here. Yeah, I'll do. All right. So, update on my recovery. So, I saw my physiotherapist for my first appointment on Friday, just gone. No weekend. It's way too short. Always is, mate. Always is. So, yeah, saw my physio on Friday, just gone. First appointment. There was conflicting instructions on what I was meant to do after my surgery to when I saw him, which was 2 weeks. So, apparently, the day after the surgery, I was meant to get my arm out of the sling and sit there and pretty much extend my elbow, move my wrist around so it doesn't seize up. Now, there was conflicting to what the physiotherapist wrote to what the surgeon wrote. So, for a week there, I didn't move my arm, which caused problems. I couldn't get full extension on my elbow at all. Hey, Turk, how you doing, bud? So I think I made the executive decision to, I think it was Tuesday, just gone, to start exercising because I was getting quite sore and I was starting to get a little bit worried that I couldn't extend my arm. So I did that, saw the physio, he's like, yep, you're meant to have done that, he goes, and then chucked me on the table pretty much, grabbed my arm and started wrenching on it to try and get some movement back in my shoulder. Now, I couldn't move much at all since that surgery, but now obviously, yeah, I'll show you. So I can't move. I can move my arm. That's about as far as I can go. I can't push it back past that. I can come up to here and outwards. That's as much movement as I have at the moment. So it's going to be a long recovery. So I've got 1 session a week, and yeah, he's going to just manipulate my shoulder to get that movement back into it. So I think he said by the 6th week I should be able to reach up above my head. I'm out of my sling in 2 weeks time, and what else did he say? He said I'm going to be bloody sore. So I'm still sore from Friday. So it's a bit of a struggle at the moment, but I'm getting there. So yeah, so 4 to 6 times a day, just out of the sling, and just keep this elbow and wrist moving. Otherwise, yeah, I've noticed my hand starts to swell up and stuff from being in the sling, just because it's not getting any circulation. Insurance has paid me out. I do have the insurance money now. So tonight on the stream, you're damaged also, second surgery. I don't know how to say. So Joby Willis Jones. Hey there, Dirty GQ. How you doing, mate? Yeah, so insurance have paid me out. I've got money sitting in my account. I am looking for vehicles at the moment as well. So that's the next thing. Though I can't drive for another 4 weeks, so I'm probably just going to sit on the cash at the moment until I can drive. So had a few. I've inquired about a couple of cars, but there's not a lot out in the market at the moment, and everyone wants drug money for what I'm looking for. So it's the way it is at the moment, unfortunately. So what'd you do to yourself, Jovi? Just out of curiosity, you got me wondering. What else can I say? Yeah, if you got a 90 series, you want some mod advice, or you want to know about what I did to mine, feel free to ask me in the chat. So, am I looking for another 90? No, I'm not. I have looked at them, but they're all really high Ks. 400 plus just for a V6. Mine had 351 on it. I bought it with 309. Haven't seen anything with real low Ks. The diesels are around 13 grand at the moment for a 90 series, and that's stock. It's not even modified. So I will tell you now, I am looking at either 80 series or a 105 series cruiser. But if something else catches my eye, not a Nissan. Sorry, Dirty GQ. I ain't getting a Nissan. Then yeah, I'll look at that too. So I am looking interstate as well, so not just in Adelaide. You got a 90 series, been deciding for ages about getting a snorkel on for petrol. Does it help much? 100% it helps. I noticed a big improvement in my fuel economy getting that fresh air down there, because it rams the air through to the engine as well. And being it's cold and it's not pulling from under the guard and it's right up high, I did notice a bit more torque as well. The snorkel was my first mod I did, pretty sure. Yeah, I reckon it was. If you go back on my channel and have a look, you'll see my snorkel, all the hard bits video. What about accident on the way to work? Oh shit, that's no good, man. Someone pull out in front of you. Hope you got some details, because I didn't get details of the guy that made me roll, but they kind of made themselves known by someone else on my post. That information was passed on to the cops anyway. You own a gold mine? Yeah, those diesels, man, are ridiculous. Your 90s has 245. Yeah, well, we've seen your paintwork condition too is not the best, is it? From memory, mine was pretty clean for the Ks it had. Mine was pretty clean. Unfortunately, not anymore. I will be showing the images of the rollover of what I walked away from during the stream too. So I'll flick over to that in a little bit. Anyone got a stock standard 90 series in the chat? I'm looking at the screen here, guys. If you're just wondering, I've got a screen here. It's got all the chat on it. And the other thing, yeah, if you're looking for a 90 and you don't have one, I advise against getting one that's got LPG. You have two. Man, you're greedy. Got your 90 passed down from Dad when he bought it. Luckily, only used for camping, and it's only got 100. Oh, bloody hell! Nice. Must be in mint condition. So, what you want to do snorkel? You done suspension or anything like that, or is it still like stock? Gonna do Raptor on it? Okay. Only thing with Raptor is you have to keep reapplying it. It does wear out eventually. Both on LPG. Look, as long as it's been run on petrol regularly and not just straight LPG, because that's when you start burning valves, I recommend getting one that doesn't have LPG, just so you don't get the range. As I said, like with mine, with the long range tank in it, on this factory 31s, I got, what, 1,472 Ks on the highway? on both tanks, which is pretty freaking good for a petrol V6. That's comparable to the diesel as well. So yeah, I will let you guys know as well with the 90s. I also spoke to insurance. They're going to let me know when it goes to auction. So if you guys want to know, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go to auction in Melbourne, because that's where the car is, over in Victoria, still up in Mansfield, I believe. Yeah, if you guys want to know when that goes to auction, you might be able to pick it up as salvage and grab some of my parts off of it. So that still had, as far as I know, that's good and functional. The upper control arm should be alright. Front shocks maybe. Rear shocks would be snapped, because I reckon it snapped the upper control arms when it rolled. Rear springs ended up 40 metres away from the car down the ravine. One of my sliders is bent, so the other one's no good, so that's probably not great. I've still got my OzTrax bash plates on there, and I've got the long range fuel tank. And there is a TJM compressor under the passenger seat, which I couldn't get out because of the door. I'm just going to read chat here. Just give me a second and catch up here. So you get a few, both on LPG full setup. Okay, cool. So straight LPG, Turker. What do you need to do to fit 33s? Okay, yeah, everyone asked me this question. All right, so 33s was a experiment of mine to see if you could do 33s on a 2-inch lift, and that's not worn out 33s. That's proper 33s. With a brand new tread, which I did get to work, and it worked really well. Here in Queensland. Yeah, I have pics of the car after the accident. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, they're not full LPG. Okay, cool. Yeah, so fit 33s, you need the SPC 25 part number 25460. So if you want to write this down, so SPC 25460 is the part number, and they're the upper control arms you'll need. So those ball joints on the upper control arms move 84 degrees compared to, I think it was 63 on the factory ball joints. So you get a lot more droop. But with that lot more droop comes a lot more CV bind. So with that, I needed to do the custom shocks. Dobinson's did the shocks for me. From as far as I know, it was a Colorado strut and a Hilux spring, but I can't tell you what model, Hilux or Colorado. And then they had to put a spacer in on the inside the shock absorber to limit it, so it didn't get CV bind on full droop. So after that, you'll then need to change your bump stops on your lower control arms. So again, Dobinson's, I think it's a BS 59-60, something along those lines. I'd have to check. Can always let you know in the next live stream exactly what that part number is. I've got the boxes out in the shed still, just haven't been out in the shed. So you need to extend your lower bump stops. So because with those arms, because you've got more droop, they also, and they got a longer ball joint, they also sit up higher on a higher angle. So you need to limit that travel so you don't smash the top of your guard, which I did with the factory bump stops. And then what we did on the rear of the guard there is that lip, we just heated it up with an oxy and laid it over with a hammer. That's all I needed to do, just laid it flat. Then obviously you need to get in there with a heat gun and shape your guard liner if you want to keep your guard liners in there and not get mud where you don't want it. And yeah, once that was all done, it was good, man. Didn't rub on anything. Now it's on full flex. On the rear, now the rear's the fun part, so I would suggest either, how would I do it? I would probably do adjustable upper and lower arms on the rear diff to bring your diff forward slightly so you don't have to trim out your flares. If you have an RV model, you won't need to do that because it doesn't have flares. But I had to cut out a little section on mine on the rear and put a rubber flap in behind that to stop mud flicking all the way back up and sitting under the car and inside the rear bumper. So a little bit of work to get it to work, but it happens. You can do it. And yeah, only thing is, it's going to kill your fuel consumption unless you re-gear your diffs. So while 33s are good, you will need to re-gear your diffs, and the diff ratio you'll need is a 4.56 to 1, and that'll bring your speedo back to work correctly without having to put a speedo corrector in like I did. Also, the other thing with the wreck, there is a wholesale automatic transmissions Nomad valve body and torque converter lockup kit in that car too, which I never added to my insurance policy because I didn't get around to it because I only did it the day before I left. But that's only suitable for the transmission that's in the vehicle, so you'll need to do a trans swap. Is it worth it apart from fuel? Yeah, definitely. Clearance. Huge difference on clearance compared to your standard 31s. So ends up with a 2-inch lift and your 33s, you're on about a 3 inches of lift total, like including tyres. So where we go there? Michael. Oh, and the car's fully done up, dual battery, roof rack, bull bar, fridge, drawers, everything. Just looking more for more fuel economy. So V6 or diesel? Yeah, I recommend the 33s, but if you want it to get your fuel economy back, you're going to need to re-gear your diffs. There's no way about it. I think I worked out if I was to do, just to see the next lot of mods was going to be the rear locker and re-gear the diffs, which worked out to be around about the $4,000 mark. I think somewhere in there, 4.5, just to do that alone. So it gets expensive. You could stick with a 265 70/16, which is what, 31.8, 32-inch tyre, and you won't see a huge difference in that. But again, you're going to miss out on that extra inch of lift. Ready to wash your main? Okay, no worries. That's alright then. At least you can do some work with it. So, yeah. What else would you guys like to know? Said open to questions on the mods. Oh, the other thing that's in the rack as well is my Intervolt DCC Pro dual battery system, minus the battery. All the wiring's there. Anderson plug to connect, it's all there, so it's worth picking up. I know the battery actually come out of the cradle on the rollover, so I saw that when I had my head on, or when I could see through the bend in the bonnet anyway. So who's ready to see pictures of the wreck? I said I haven't looked at these since I took them. Really? So which would you recommend, front or rear locker? Rear. Just because you've got CVs in the front and you're going to be more prone to blowing CVs with a front locker. What do I reckon of Avenger Kings items? Some of it's good, some of it's shit. So I have some King stuff. Only because it's kind of decent quality, to a degree. For example, I got their Little Kings pop-out kitchen sink. Didn't get to use it, but I've got it. I've also got the solar blanket too. I think it's a 200-watt solar blanket. It's 10 amps. I think it's rated to 10 amp charging. I had that on my other car, my Chaser in the shed, just testing it, made sure it all worked. Because man, that's rolling 6 or 7 times with everything in the drawers. You don't know what's broken and what's not. So. And surprisingly, even my billy can survived not being dented. Fridge is knackered though, but that's all twisted. Yep, everyone wants to see it. Alright. A little bit confronting, guys, but yeah, we'll go through them slowly. I'll explain a little bit here and there, so... where are we? Where did everything go? Hold on a minute. What did I just do? What did I do? Oh no, press some wrong buttons. Alright. Hopefully we're still right. Sorry guys. Don't know what I clicked there. Good old being left-handed. It's great. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I'll flick over here. It's a little bit confronting to see what I walked away from, but yeah, my camera's going to flick down to the bottom right here, and here we go. Now you should be able to hear me. Yep, that was my fault. Sorry, guys. Alright. Go back to here. So, yeah, alright. My error. Sorry, guys. Alright, so yeah, as I was saying here, it went into a left-hand roll, and they've put the roof rack on the wrong way around, but that's fine. So, should be good now. So, that's why that A pillar on the left-hand side is pretty well caved in. Go to the next one, back to here. So, where I can see that dent on the passenger side door, I reckon I rolled through a tree there. Because when I come to a stop, because I was laying on the left-hand side, I had branches through that window, not far from my face. At that time, obviously, the fridge is still in the back. So, yeah, obviously that slide is knackered, as you can see. It's pushed up. Took us half an hour to get into the very back of the car. That is a big jimmy bar to do that. You see it popped all the tyres off the beads, pretty much. All the rims were buckled. Exhaust seems okay there. So I think the exhaust survived. Spare wheel was alright. I've got the wheel bags here. I've kept a few things. You see, like, the only windows that survived in the car were the back doors and that side window here. The other one would have got ripped out when the roof rack came off. Yeah, it's pretty full on roll, that one. So, and yeah, that's it from the front side there. So, I don't know what I hit with the front right to bend the bull bar like it did. I don't know. All I remember is going around like a washing machine, just around and around and around and around. Awning was bent. The box I bolted to the roof is still secure on the roof rack. But my chainsaw was up there, that's all damaged. So I've got another claim through insurance on belongings. What else we got here? So that's inside the car afterwards. That's obviously they would have recovered and chucked stuff in there as well, but with the flares and whatnot, as you can see, just laying in there. So, as you can see, yeah, that passenger side come down pretty well. I had to climb out through the passenger side window on this one. All doors are jammed shut, so, and I couldn't move my shoulder. I've got video footage of when I stopped. Had my little Garmin InReach Mini, this thing here, completely useless, as I said in the last stream. Didn't send out a signal. Well, yeah, model was it? 97. It's one of the series ones. and yeah, that didn't send out a signal, and my GoPro landed next to my head, one of my GoPros, so I pulled it out and hit record and record the little message on there to say I couldn't move my shoulder, and I just rolled my car. So there will be a once I can move my shoulder, I reckon, hopefully, if not next week, the week after, I'm going to try and start editing up the video from the Sunday that I went out. So, ever sneezed so hard you sharded? No, mate. Can't say I have. Hopefully that's something you don't have issues with, mate. If you do, you should go see a doctor. Hey, mate. Hey, Mike, how are you, bud? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Sore. Sick of being in a sling for another 2 weeks. So that's the back of the car after I pulled out the fridge and everything I could. Obviously, that's the handle of the shovel there. I don't know where the other part of the shovel was, but that's what was left in that. And then just in the back there, back seat survived. I left the fire extinguisher in it as well, and those ocky straps. No point in me trying to get any of that out. I've left my Victorian High Country bamp in there too, so if someone happens to get it, they'll get a nice map hopefully. So yeah, she was pretty nasty, man. So yeah, Michael in here in the chat, he's one that slinged me up, I believe, and got my essentials to the police, my identity. So yeah, I'll just flick through these again just in case people want to see them. So just quickly flick through and we'll flick back. So what exhaust did I have? Okay, so the exhaust was a 2 1/4 inch exhaust. I think it was, yeah, 2 1/4. With wasn't a mandrel bent Y pipe, it was a press bent Y pipe, but it was still 2 1/4 inch mandrel bent, press bent, sorry, Y pipe underneath. Into a flex joint. From the flex joint, I had, what did I put at the front there? I think it was a hot dog, maybe. Was it a muffler? No, I had a muffler put in after that, and then I had a hot dog at the rear. That was it. Then I side exited it at the rear for clearance on departure angle. So just flick through these some more. Not great to look at. It's weird looking out the front of my house and going, well, there's no car there now. So no headers. Don't see the point putting extractors on it. It's not going to make a huge difference. Might give you a bit more torque, but I didn't feel the need to do it. Had plenty of power. You reckon it took a hit? Nah. Well, that would have been the first thing to touch the ground when I went over, and there was no trees there as far as I remember. So I would have snapped the lid off and my chainsaw would have come out, but... Winch, yeah, winch is fine. Got a carbon winch in it. So again, couldn't get that out. That's all jammed in there. So yeah, took a heavy recovery truck, and what else did it take to get out of it? And another truck. I had to close the road and everything to get it out. Like I said, it took them about 3 hours to get it out, something like that. So it's pretty straightforward. They pulled it back up onto its wheels and then just pulled it back up the hillside. So £12,000 overkill for the car, maybe. Though I was around 2.7 tonne, I believe, fully loaded. So, alright. Had enough of looking at that. Let's look at some nice pictures of the car. No, it's straight. What were my favourite mods? Sliders for sure. Because I custom designed those and had them built by SBH Engineering here in Adelaide. And yeah, he mounted them all up for me. They were great. That's one of my favourite ones. The Iron Man Commercial Deluxe Bull Bar. That's another one of my favourite mods, only because then I could add a winch to it. Josh in the chat here, he has my old alloy bar from the vehicle. What else, really? My battery box, that was a pretty good mod. Made that myself. Wired everything up myself. I had Light Force lights on the rack as well. Don't know if they'd be any good after that, but yeah, I was still on there. Don't know about the back one, didn't look for that. It's pretty much it, really. Everything else was just a comfort thing. Like, what I was going to do at the end of the day, I was going to pull the back seat out and put a false floor in, so I had a bit more room. Because as it was with the seat folded up, there's not a lot of room in there. A Xerox bull bar. Don't know what that one is. Let's have a look. Xerox or X-Rox, you mean? I mean X-Rox with the tube. The two tubes that come around the corners. Is the fridge still working? Yeah, the fridge is still working. I tested it last night. Finally got around to it. Put a few drinks in there, fired it up. It's twisted, but it works. It's not something I probably want to use though. I just don't know how reliable it's going to be now. I was laying on its side for a week, running with food in it. Yeah, got to pull the back. That second row seat has to come out. In the back I had a triple draw system, Titans, so I had the two on the bottom, and then I bolted another Titan on the right hand side, and I had my two water tanks in there, which I did retrieve from the vehicle, and my connector for my tap and all that stuff. So I'm very lucky to be alive, man. I'm just sad she's gone, to be honest. I don't have a car. And the market is so tough right now for four-wheel drives in general, because everyone wants one, that I don't know how long it's going to be before I'll be making videos again. I guess I'll just live stream every Sunday for the moment. Hey Lewis, how you doing, mate? Yeah, definitely recommend getting a 90 series for a first one. My 90 series was my first four-wheel drive, so... What should you look for? Lower ball joints, common issue. Steering rack bushes, common issue. What else? Obviously, you're going to have... With any V6, you will find that the rocker cover gaskets will leak. Mine was leaking. I've got a full kit sitting here, including intake manifold gaskets that I was going to run through it when I got back. And nope, ain't doing that now. So if anyone needs a... rocker cover kit with all the bolt seals and everything, let me know. We'll work out a deal. Sell it on to someone. What else do I recommend looking at? Pretty much on these. See if the trans fluid has been changed if it's auto. If it's never been changed, then yeah, maybe give that a service. I don't know, you can't really go wrong with these. If it's a VX model like mine had with the front and rear aircon, obviously they're factory limited slip and the diff was just worn out, so that's just a common Toyota thing. That handbrakes never work in these things. You have to constantly adjust them all the time. I reckon the workaround for that wouldn't be doing the dog bones, but would be actually getting some brake shoes relined with your disc. So I would find a place that does custom brakes. Take your brand new disc in and some shoes and get them to reline it to suit the disc. That way it engages properly. Recommend a tow bar for everyone that doesn't have one, just so you got a rear recovery point. So the King's lights I bought just because they were cheap. Man, you know what? I hardly use them because I didn't really do much night driving. So worth having spotties, or it depends what you're doing with the car at the end of the day. So if anyone does have any leads on either an 80 or a 105 series, let me know. Doesn't matter if it's interstate either. No worries, Lewis. Easy, bud. Easy questions. Not a problem. Yeah. So we've got tomorrow. So tomorrow I've got to see my surgeon. Well, not the surgeon that did my operation, but the surgeon in Adelaide that actually has seen me about my shoulder previously, because what my physio thinks, or my physio has been working on my right shoulder for quite a while. Without the rear seats. Yeah, man, no worries. Easy. Okay, I'll check it out. Not a problem. I'll be answering, obviously we'll be jumping onto Instagram as well, and I'll be checking, I'll be answering some questions in there that people have asked me. Just a little bit of a Q&A thing, like from 10 weeks ago. I still hadn't got around to doing it. Well, because all this happened. Hey, Southern Sun, how you doing, mate? You're up. Maybe, head over to YouTube and... But strap bill, I read, but strap bill is what? No idea what you're talking about, mate. Anyway, yeah, I've got a post from a while back that I did for some Q&As over on Instagram, so I might just jump over to that first, and I'll get back into what my plans are for tomorrow. Just give me a sec here. So if they're not watching, well, bad luck. So Gunware, he's a follower of mine on Instagram. He asked me, was my 90 my daily driver or my camping long trip car, and it was my daily driver. So and all around adventures with Mickey. He asked me what suspension did I run. Well, mine was a custom Dobinson's MRR remote res setup. I was the only one in Australia with it at the time. Custom built by Dobinson's here in Adelaide. Skunked the Prado, said why the 90, and if you could choose any other 4B, what would it be? Well, I was big into fishing a while back. So I wanted to do a lot of beach fishing. Around the metro area was kind of crap. So JDs don't catch anything around here. So I went, you know what, I'm going to get a 4-wheel drive just so I can go down and get on a beach and do some beach fishing up the Coorong, which is the Coorong in South Australia here. And so yeah, I went to car yard, had my little Ford Laser back in the day. That was starting to have central locking issues, and it was just getting tired in general, and the paint was getting tired. So I traded out on this out of a car yard. And then I had to do a bit of work on this and had to go back for a bit of warranty problems. Rack popped the seals within a month. I found out it had been sitting in the car yard for a year. No one had bought it. So paid a bit too much, paid $8.5 for it at the time. But it's 309,000 Ks on it. So yeah, that's how I got my 90. If I wanted another 4-wheel drive, look, I love the 90 series, don't get me wrong. It's a great vehicle. But I should have done a bit more research, maybe go on something with a solid axle. Just because the aftermarket support on the 90 series is near or non-existent. You have to make stuff work. If I'd gone again, I probably would have gone for an 80 series or a 105 series. Maybe a solid axle Hilux. Maybe like an LN 106 or something. Maybe. I'm not a big ute person myself though, so... Let's have a look. I'll catch up with chat here and we'll get back into this. You're tidying up the back of your Prado and tying the wiring you've done? Okay, yep, cool. I ran my wiring out that left-hand rear window from all my lights. Just with the correct size wiring, so it's still sealed from going through the car wash. And yeah, it's fine. Did work for me. Be time to remove the middle seats. You mainly travel solo, your wife has no interest. You remove those middle seats and you put a false floor in, you've just opened up a whole lot more storage space for yourself. You could build up a set of drawers. That's what I was going to do. I was going to put a false floor in and maybe put 2 lift-up sides with storage compartments, and then I could put stuff on top as well, like my swag and stretcher and stuff like that. So that was my plan anyway. That way I would have got a hell of a lot more storage space. So alright, back to this one here. Whereabouts did I tour around SA? This was Lukey Gregory. He was in SA too, looking for new places. So if you ever come into SA, Daz RFB. Really? Oh no. How you doing, mate? I've looked at 120s. I just don't like the shape. I don't like the headlights. Tail lights look cool. They look good from the back. Front looks alright. Again, they're IFS, so I want solid axle. So again, back to touring around SA. The Flinders Rangers is really good if you ever want to come over. 80 series and RB25, yeah, sure. 80 series and RB30, no worries. That's my cousin, everyone, by the way. So, yeah, Flinders Rangers is really good. So Bendleby Rangers was a really good trip I went on for a couple of days. It's a property you pay for. Has campsites as well as showers and stuff there too, so that was pretty good. SA Vic border track. Oh, fucking here we go. The soccer's here. You still can't find a cargo barrier? Mine was in the car. I don't know how bent it was. I know the brackets were bent though. Yeah, I'm not sure on that side of things. Mr. Anthony would know more about that. He works at Petters. So I'm sure he can answer that in the chat about GVM. He's the GVM queen. Yeah, SA Vic border track. That's another really good one to do. Free camp in the Vic side, about halfway down. Any camping you do in SA, you have to pay for the campsites and pay for access to the national parks. So that's why I tend to go interstate, because it's free camping generally. Where else did I go here? Simpson Desert. Took the 90 series across the Simpson Desert. That was pretty good. That was a very memorable trip. Took it up to Alice Springs, out to Uluru, and Carter. Then back across the Simpson to Birdsville and back into Adelaide. That was a really good trip. If you're looking at doing the Simpson Desert, it's not hard. Just make sure your car's reliable. Just give me a sec to stretch out this elbow. Jesus, it's getting tight. So yeah, they're probably my top places to go, because that's pretty much all I've done here. And then obviously you got a place like Eagle View 4-wheel drive track, which is pretty good. And you got Jacob Farm, or they nickname that Breakham Farm, because you generally break everything on your car when you go out there. Yeah, Salt Creek. Yep, the Roadhouse isn't running anymore. I don't know how long ago you were out there, Dirty GQ. But yeah, the government pretty much stopped maintaining all the camping areas up there. And the guy who was doing all the recoveries for the tourists was running the Salt Creek Roadhouse, and he had enough, so he went and shut down his roadhouse, and he doesn't recover anyone anymore. Yeah, which is pretty sad. That's quite nice out there. I don't mind it. If you like the beach. Beachport the Robe is another good one. Haven't done that though. Didn't get around to it. Where would you recommend to get on body protection? Looking for some? I can put you in touch with someone. I'll type it in chat here. Hopefully I spell his name right. Hold on a minute. Let me double check that. Yeah. Look up that dude on Facebook. He's based over in WA, and he did all the custom bash plates for petrol and diesel 90 series. Is there anyone that does them? They're about 500 and something for a set. Offroad Traveller said, what was my favourite place to visit in SA? Favourite place to visit? It's a hard one. So I haven't done a whole lot here. I would still say Flinders Ranges. Anywhere up there, it's pretty good. I went out to Arkaroola. I don't know if you've seen that on my YouTube channel. Arkaroola's pretty nice too, for what I saw of it after I wiped out my alignment. So it's been 4 years. It's 4 years ago. Yeah, I think he shut it down about 3 years ago. So you're in Queensland? Oh, no worries. Not a problem, mate. Yeah, he can ship. He'll ship interstate. It's not a problem. But have a chat to the dude. Tell him Mick from OzTrax 4x4 sent you. So he might be able to get something made for you. He did a whole batch, and that's when I got mine done. So unless you want to buy my rack, if you got a petrol V6, OzTrax is good value. Also Robe, yeah, Robe to Beachport. Never got around to doing it. Kind of annoyed I didn't get around to doing it, but oh well, it is what it is. And then someone asked how much chopping was required to fit the 33s. I answered that earlier, so that's not a worry. Yeah, like on the border track, a mate of mine. It was middle of winter, and we just hit those big mud sections on the border track. And we said to him, whatever you do, don't go through any of the pits. So he gets around the corner, and he looks around and he goes, that doesn't look deep. And obviously this morning he was having alarm issues with his alarm going off, and his indicators flashing, and his lockers stopped working. So he drives through this pit. Oh yeah, that doesn't look deep. Completely submerges the car. We weren't ready for it. Fills it up with water. Took us 4 weeks to clean out his 90 series, out of all the mud and everything out of it. Doing board track in August. Yeah, board track will be good, man. You enjoy it. It's not hard. Yeah, just obviously just don't do it when it's hot for your border track. So yeah, getting back to tomorrow. So yeah, I'm seeing the surgeon here. So I've always had a right shoulder issue for as long since I was 21. I got a slap tear in it. So my joint wasn't very strong to begin with, and it was very unstable. So my physio seems to think that it wasn't me hitting it on anything on the rollover, because I don't remember hitting it on anything. He reckons it was just the jolt from the rolling around in the car that sent my dislocation backwards, which then impacted your humerus, which is the top of your shoulder, like your top of your arm bone, and I impacted it and fractured it, and then also damaged the joint back here. I think it was back there, or more towards the front. I damaged the joint towards the front somehow. So yeah, I've got to see him tomorrow, because obviously he didn't do the surgery, because my surgery was done in Victoria. But he told me back then, at that time, that he wasn't going to do anything with my slap tear, because it'll limit my movement. But I'm kind of injured now. had to do something with it. So alright, what we got here? So you started at Nelson, finished at Paringa. Took 5 days. Did it in July. Okay, cool. Nelson. Oh yeah, Nelson's down. That's just over the border of Mount Gambier, isn't it, Nelson? Pretty sure it is. Got the same model and colour, but 99 model. To be honest, I haven't seen many in the same colour. I see a lot of the maroons, a lot of the purpley blue ones. Mine's like a silver blue grey. It's a weird colour. And it's not very common, I don't think, because I haven't seen any since. A lot of white ones for sale. Yeah, Mike's in Sydney, SOC. So you have to speak to an engineer over there. So. Oh, I'm getting hot. Getting hot in this hoodie. So yeah, OzTrax hoodies. I was going to reveal these on my trip in the video. So that's the front, the OzTrax logo. On the back, don't know if you got to see it. Got the OzTrax on the back there as well. So that was just something I made. If you want to buy one, you can buy one. Check out my Linktree link on Instagram or Facebook. It'll take you to the merch store. If you want a hoodie for winter, has to come out of the US. They're about 60 something bucks. Those are the same colour as yours? Yeah, okay. It wasn't a very common colour. I've seen some similar. My mate's got an O2 TX diesel. It's similar, but it's not quite the same colour. A light brown. So like a champagne-y colour. I've seen plenty of those. See, I wish I'd done a bit more research and got a later model as well anyway. Just because the dash was a bit nicer. They had electronic centre locking diffs and everything as well. Instead of having to drive backwards and then forwards again like you have to do in the Series 1s. In the autos to get them to engage. I hope everyone's doing well anyway. As long as I've had my arm out of the sling for. Give me a sec. I'll keep chatting, I'll keep putting it in the sling. So I need to put it back in. It's getting sore. This is going to be fun. Doesn't have the exterior trim, so what's yours, an RV6 model? Well, you got no flares. It's going to be fun trying to put this in here. Jesus. How do I like the Prado? Prado was great. Don't have it anymore though. No longer around. Do miss it though. Definitely do miss it. So. Oh, Jesus. Ah, there you go. I'm alright. It's going to be slow process, mate. Slow process. Ugh. Get this thing on. Give my arm a rest. There we go, that's better. Yeah, it would have been nice to have kept modding there, mate. You know, I was almost there. All I needed was lockers. Or a locker. I was going to do a rear locker and re-gear the diffs. And I was going to do a roof console for the UHF. And I would have been done, man. Would have been set. So yeah, so for everyone in here, so Anthony there, or the sock as I like to call him, he's the one that helped me with all my mods. And all the experimentation and weird alignments when I wiped out my alignment and helping me fit the 33s. So if it wasn't for him, you probably wouldn't have that information on fitting 33s at all. I'd probably freaking kill my shoulder, mate. Use the left hand, mate. Call it the stranger. So roof console, I would have gone with Outback Equipment's roof consoles. I think they were 400, I think, including the pocket for the UHF. It's about the 470 mark. So I think it's Outback equipment. Pretty sure it is. Let's have a look. Typing left-handed fucking sucks too. Yeah, Outback equipment did it. I'll chuck a link in chat for you, mate. So obviously the pocket's extra, but so yeah, I was looking there. That's what I was going to put in it. So yeah, it's $4.50 plus then you got to buy the pocket on top. So it was like an extra $17 for a pocket. So is that $4.67? I think it was free postage. I think from memory. So I do a few bits and pieces down there. So snorkels and wheel covers and all sorts of stuff. Off eBay. It's probably the same one. The roof console wasn't a necessity, but it was something I'd like to have finished off, because I was going to replace it. I've still got it here. I've got the pocket got a replacement pocket to replace where the UHF is or was now, and then I was going to put the UHF up in the roof console, so I still had that pocket to be usable down the bottom. Yeah, now I've got to buy a new. Oh, I'm waiting for insurance to come through now for my contents for in the car, my swag and stretcher. They did come through and pay for all of that. So, swag, stretcher, storage bag, and pillow. So I've got to buy all them again for the insurance money, and then hopefully I'll have a car soon. I'll be able to do a bit of a reveal on that when I finally find one. So yeah. Looking around anywhere really. Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Darwin, wherever. I don't want to spend over 20 if I don't have to. But we'll see what's around. So I've got 20 grand to play with. Any more questions? If not, I'm probably going to end the stream. Getting a bit sore with the old shoulder. Need to go have some painkillers and do all that fun stuff. But yeah, next Sunday I'll do another live stream. So I'm going to probably do them every Sunday night around this time. Between 8, do like an hour, 8 to 9. That way if you have questions or you want to ask me anything, like, feel free to do so. So, just a one pros, full setup. Nice. Where do you reside, Turka? Are you in Australia or are you overseas? Or I'm assuming you're in Australia. You in Vic? Okay, there you go. Cool. Easy, man. No worries. Good old Victoria. I will get my redemption back in the high country probably next year. Won't be this year, so don't think I'll be doing any trip videos anytime soon, or mod videos, because yeah, as a recovery, he reckons I'll start strength training at 6 weeks, so it's been 2 weeks now, since my surgery. So another 4 weeks I'll start strength training, and I should have movement back into my shoulder by then, or pretty close to. I reckon it's 12 weeks, so I should start seeing some decent results. So window heat shields. So the solar screens. That's what you're talking about? Ones with little suction caps. Yep, they do those. They're a Queensland company as well, actually. So I know these guys have a patent for the 90 series because a mate of mine's got them. So, so if you're talking about that place there, I think they're about $200 or something for a full set, from memory. Well, from 282 including GST plus postage for a touring set. So I guess if you're sleeping in your car, it's a really good way to block out everything out of your windows. So that's the other thing I might be looking at. I might even look at a troop carrier yet. So, and I'll set that up so I can sleep in the back of it, rather than have a rooftop tent or a swag. So it might be another option. So yeah, solar screen for that one, mate. Yeah, that's an easy one. And yeah, mate of mine's got them. He runs them on his all his rear windows and his back doors, and does a good job. Keeps the heat out. If you're looking at something that's just going to keep the car cool or keep your fridge cooler, always get a transit bag for your fridge, no matter what people say. Transit bag for sure, 100%. Alright guys, I'm going to call it there. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you all again. Yeah, next Sunday, you know, same thing. Any questions? Yeah, if anyone wants stickers or whatnot, I still have a few left that I managed to pull out of the wreck. So yeah, if anyone wants stickers or whatnot, feel free to shoot me a message on like Instagram or Facebook. I can organise something for you. Square body 4B or later model. What do you mean? Hate said J75. What are you talking about? What I'm looking at? What was an 80 or a 105? It depends what pops up, man. Depends what tickles my fancy. Sort of sticker, forgot to grab one. Hey, we'll organise something if you want something. Since you got my gear out, so that's no worries. Yeah, no worries, guys. Yeah, so you got any more questions or whatever? Yeah, or you want to message me, see how I'm going, man. You know, I'll reply to everyone. Instagram, Facebook. If you haven't done so, man, head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out. Obviously, I can't work now, so you know, you guys watching my videos and sharing them around and subscribing actually helps me to make a little bit of cash out of it, just off the ad revenue from watching the ads. So, alright guys, you have a good one, and I'll see you next Sunday. Thanks guys, catch you later.